Rome stood still, draped in mourning for the passing of Pope Francis. World leaders converged on the ancient city, a somber assembly united in grief. Among them was former U.S. President Donald Trump, his 14-hour visit punctuated by a significant encounter. Amidst the grand halls of the Vatican, a brief meeting unfolded, drawing global attention. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, his nation locked in a desperate struggle, found himself face-to-face with the former U.S. president. The meeting, taking place within the hallowed halls of St. Peter's Basilica, was unplanned, a chance encounter amidst the solemn gathering. The weight of the situation was palpable, the ongoing conflict in Ukraine casting a long shadow. Cameras captured the scene, a handshake, the exchange of words, expressions difficult to decipher. This brief interaction, unexpected and laden with significance, became a focal point of Trump's whirlwind visit. The meeting, lasting a mere 15 minutes, was long on symbolism but short on specifics. Sources revealed that the conversation centered around the ongoing war in Ukraine and the urgent need for a resolution. Trump, known for his direct approach, wasted no time in advocating for a negotiated settlement between Ukraine and Russia. This push for diplomacy, however, came with a distinct Trumpian twist, a call for direct talks between Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Zelensky, no stranger to negotiations with the Kremlin, listened intently. The Ukrainian president, having spent years navigating the complexities of the conflict, understood the high stakes involved. While the details of his response remain closely guarded, it is clear that Zelensky did not shy away from presenting his own perspective on the path to peace. The meeting, brief as it was, laid bare the stark realities of the conflict and the contrasting approaches to ending the bloodshed. Trump's call for direct negotiations between Ukraine and Russia was not unexpected. The former president has long advocated for dialogue as a means of resolving international disputes, often eschewing traditional diplomatic channels. In Trump's view, direct communication between Zelensky and Putin, without intermediaries, held the key to unlocking a peaceful resolution. He argued that such an approach would cut through the diplomatic red tape and allow for frank discussions between the parties directly involved in the conflict. Trump's stance, however, was met with mixed reactions. Proponents lauded his commitment to peacemaking and his willingness to engage in unconventional diplomacy. Critics, on the other hand, saw his push for direct talks as a naive oversimplification of a complex geopolitical quagmire. They argued that such negotiations, without the necessary preconditions and international pressure, would only serve to legitimize Putin's aggression and embolden his stance. Section 4. Zelensky's counter-reparations and territory. Zelensky, while acknowledging the need for dialogue, presented a counter-proposal that underscored the significant hurdles on the path to peace. The Ukrainian president, acutely aware of the sacrifices his nation had endured, emphasized the importance of accountability and justice. Zelensky's position centered around two key demands: reparations for the devastation inflicted upon Ukraine and the return of territories seized by Russia since the conflict began. The demand for reparations reflected the immense human and economic cost borne by Ukraine. Zelensky argued that Russia, as the aggressor, must be held responsible for rebuilding the shattered infrastructure, compensating for the loss of life, and addressing the long-term consequences of the conflict. The issue of territorial integrity was equally non-negotiable. Section 5. A War of Words, Trump's Criticisms. Resurface. Trump, never one to shy away from controversy, used his time in Rome to launch a series of scathing criticisms aimed at his political opponents. Former presidents Barack Obama and Joe Biden, alongside Russian President Vladimir Putin, became the targets of his verbal volleys. Trump accused them of incompetence, weakness, and ultimately, responsibility for the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Trump's rhetoric, reminiscent of his time in office, drew sharp rebukes from those he targeted. The back and forth, playing out in the international media, highlighted the deep political divisions that continue to plague American politics. His comments, delivered on foreign soil, underscored the challenges of presenting a united front on the world stage. Section 6. Ripples on the world stage. Trump's whirlwind visit to Rome, brief as it was, sent ripples across the global political landscape. The unexpected meeting with Zelensky, coupled with his pronouncements on the conflict in Ukraine, injected a new element of uncertainty into an already volatile situation. The former president's call for direct negotiations, while dismissed by some as unrealistic, had the potential to reshape the diplomatic calculus surrounding the war. The visit also served as a stark reminder of the complexities of U.S.-European relations in the post-Trump era. While Trump's presidency may be over, his presence continues to loom large on the international stage. His willingness to break with diplomatic norms and challenge the established world order has left a lasting impact, shaping the perceptions and actions of allies and adversaries alike. Section 7. An uncertain future. Ukraine's fate hangs in the balance. As the dust settled on Trump's visit, the fate of Ukraine remained precariously balanced. The brief encounter between Zelensky and Trump offered a glimmer of hope, a reminder that dialogue, however unlikely, remained a possibility. However, the stark reality of the situation, marked by deeply entrenched positions and a devastating human toll, could not be ignored. The path to peace, if it exists, will be fraught with challenges. The international community, grappling with the ripple effects of the conflict, faces a pivotal moment. The choices made in the coming weeks and months will determine not only the future of Ukraine, but also the stability of a region teetering on the brink.